Princess Elodie is married off to a prince from a rich kingdom to save her people from starvation. She is happy about this marriage, but does not know that she will become a victim of the dragon and not the wife of the prince. In the realm of Aurea, the monarch and his brave knights journey across the hills in pursuit of a dragon. Entering a cave behind the creature, the group is met with a sight that astonishes them. At that moment, the dragon returns, unleashing a fiery breath that annihilates most of the knights instantly, then proceeds to snatch the survivors with her tail, eliminating them as well. Finally, she confronts the king, who kneels in resignation to his fate. Centuries later, in a northern territory, Floria and Elodie are gathering any wood they can find. They are the daughters of the local noble and strive to support their community, now struggling with famine and the severe cold as winter takes its toll. Then, unexpectedly, a carriage passes by, a rare sight for them. The sisters hurry home to discover their father, Lord Bayford, and stepmother, Lady Bayford, in conversation with a nun who briefly inspects Elodie before departing. Lord Bayford reveals to Elodie that she has been chosen to wed a prince from the royal family of Aurea. Initially, Elodie objects but is persuaded by Bayford, who explains that the marriage will bring financial aid to their town, ensuring their survival for years. The family then sets sail for Aurea, and as they approach their destination, they encounter a dense mist. Spooked by eerie shadows, they soon realize these are merely two enormous statues of dragons. Upon landing, they're struck by the wealth and beauty of the land and the castle's grandeur. The servants show them to their quarters, mentioning they'll meet the royal family the next day. From her balcony, Elodie admires the scenery and notices a girl her age on another balcony, who is quickly escorted away by a maid. Unable to sleep that night, Elodie stays up drawing. Seeking some air, she steps out to the balcony and finds the other girl's room dark and notices torchlights far off, indicating a group ascending the mountain under the cloak of night. The following day, Elodie and her family are introduced to the royals. Queen Isabel suggests Elodie spend time with Prince Henry to get acquainted before their wedding. Henry praises Elodie's drawings mentioned in her letter, sparking a question from Elodie about the torches she observed the previous night. Henry clarifies that the torches were part of one of the 3 ancient rituals meant to pay homage to their forebears, coinciding with their wedding date. Meanwhile, back at the castle, Lord Bayford concludes his negotiation with Isabel, appearing visibly distressed. Lady Bayford attempts to inquire about his mood, but he dismissively assures her everything is fine. When Lady Bayford suggests their families should become closer, Isabel coldly states the marriage is purely a transaction, driven by necessity. Isabel also points out Lady Bayford's humble origins as a ropemaker's daughter, advising her to remember her place. Isabel mispronounces Elodie's name, and when Lady Bayford tries to correct her, Isabel shows indifference and walks away. That evening, a concerned Lady Bayford approaches Elodie, suggesting the wedding might need to be called off due to suspicious circumstances. The following day, maids assist Elodie in dressing for the wedding, providing her with a stunning gown equipped with a blunt dagger and a perfume diffuser. The wedding ceremony proceeds smoothly, with Henry and Elodie exchanging vows and rings, sealing their union with a kiss, and Elodie receiving her own crown. After the ceremony, Elodie bids farewell to her family and joins Henry in a carriage headed for the ancient ritual on the mountain. Climbing a steep staircase, Elodie is taken aback by the sight of numerous individuals donning eerie golden masks, and Isabel, dressed akin to a nun. Isabel hands Elodie a coin, implying her role in safeguarding the kingdom, before recounting a tale as they enter the site. According to Isabel, when their ancestors settled on the island, they found it was also home to a dragon, the last of its kind. Despite their efforts, the dragon decimated the king's forces, sparing only the king on the condition that he sacrifices his 3 daughters to ensure peaceful coexistence on the island. Then, Isabel reveals that the ritual commemorates the ancient king's sacrifice by slicing open the hands of Henry and Elodie. She presses their hands together, mingling their blood, then wraps them in a fabric, proclaiming that Elodie is now officially part of the royal lineage. Following this, Elodie tosses the coin into the abyss, thinking the ceremony has concluded. However, Henry, after lifting her up as if to escort her across the bridge, unexpectedly apologizes and drops her into the chasm. Elodie plummets, screaming until she crashes through branches and finally lands in a muddy puddle, losing consciousness. She regains awareness shortly after, bruised but determined, and starts calling out for assistance. No one responds from above, but her cries awaken a dragon lurking in the depths of the cave. In this moment, she stumbles upon unfamiliar jewelry, piecing together that the royal family has been offering girls to the dragon for generations. Hearing a sound, she turns to see a glow emanating from within the cave and discovers a bird engulfed in flames. She tries to extinguish the fire with soil, but it's too late. The bird is dead. Suddenly, the cave reverberates with a roar as countless flaming birds emerge, circling above Elodie before plummeting to their demise around her. She conceals herself behind a stalactite, listening as the dragon speaks of a perpetual debt owed by the royals, detectable in Elodie's very bloodline. The dragon urges Elodie to flee, and she dashes, screaming, finding refuge in a tunnel as the dragon's flames lick at her heels. Inside, she discovers a scorched corpse, recognizing it as the girl from the balcony. As the dragon's pursuit intensifies, Elodie tries to squeeze through a narrow opening, but her gown snags, trapping her. The fire edges closer, prompting Elodie to finally shed her crinoline and dash off, seeking refuge in a tinier cave. Unfortunately, a bit of the flame catches her leg, causing a searing pain that elicits a scream. Once the dragon departs, Elodie uses the dull knife to sharpen it on a rock, then cuts away a portion of her gown to dress her burn. She then fills the diffuser with a small flame, turning it into a makeshift torch to light her path. Discovering a tight tunnel, she starts to crawl through it. Her dress snags once more, but she pulls free, losing her makeshift torch in the process as she tumbles down. The journey is excruciating, but she finally exits the tunnel, nearly tumbling over a cliff's edge. Seeing the light still ahead, she discards her wedding ring into the void, takes a running leap across the gap, and barely catches the other side. Atop, she finds the source of the light, charming luminous slugs. Confirming they're harmless, she places several into her torn sleeve, crafting a new source of light. Moving on, she discovers a small pond, but its water tastes foul due to the cave's flora. Instead, she tries to catch droplets from melting ice above, lured by the accelerated dripping in a strange red glow. Opening her eyes, Elodie is shocked to see the dragon melting the ice with her fiery breath, breaking through the icy barrier. Elodie flees as the dragon smashes through the ice, landing in the cave to pursue her. However, she quickly escapes into another tunnel, too narrow for the dragon's massive form. In this secluded cave, she stumbles upon a message inscribed on the wall, declaring it a safe haven from the dragon, signed only with the initial V. Exploring further, Elodie finds the dresses of numerous girls and another wall listing their names over the years, including a V for a girl named Victoria. She pauses to mourn their fates, then unwraps the bandage from her leg, noticing no improvement in her wound. Attempting to rest, she clutches the lantern close, but is soon haunted by the spirits of those sacrificed before her. They display their anguish, terror, and feelings of betrayal. Victoria, marking her own name, turns to Elodie, revealing the deceit behind their sacrifices. Startled awake, Elodie notices slugs covering her wound. Initially panicked, she quickly realizes their slime has medicinal qualities, significantly healing her injury. Grateful, she applies a slug to her other significant wound, thanking it for its unexpected aid. With renewed focus, Elodie surveys her surroundings and discovers a map, indicating at least one girl, Victoria, had escaped. Elodie prepares by simplifying her dress, adds her name to the wall, and sets off down the middle path, tuning out the dragon's distant roars. She follows a faint melody to a crystal-covered wall, illuminated by sunlight from the exit above, and finds a crown marked with a V, signifying Victoria's escape. The sharp crystals pose a challenge, but Elodie wraps fabric around her hands and feet for protection. Unseen by her, the dragon observes from a distance. Elodie's climb is nearly thwarted when a crystal snaps, but she manages to cling to the crown, preventing a fall. Hearing the dragon's approach, Elodie quickly climbs out, only to find herself high up on the mountain's side, overlooking a steep drop. Overwhelmed, she kneels down, breaking into tears. Then, the sound of horses draws her attention to riders nearing the mountain. She attempts to shout for help, but the dragon swoops in, blocking the exit. Elodie narrowly avoids being trapped and spots a warning etched on the wall, "Not safe," signed by V. Close by lies a corpse, indicating Victoria never escaped. She died right there. Just as the dragon prepares to attack, a man's voice shouting Elodie's name causes the beast to retreat momentarily. Lord Bayford, accompanied by 2 knights and a guide, has arrived in search of Elodie. Using their voices as a guide, Elodie makes her way towards them but discovers a nest containing the remains of 3 dragon hatchlings. This confirms Victoria's hint. A past event shows the king slaughtering the baby dragons, inciting the dragon's vengeful wrath, contrary to the tale of her initial aggression. Revealed is the true nature of the sacrifice. Generations of women offered to the dragon under the guise of royal lineage, a twisted reprisal for the dragon's loss. Elodie locates her father and his party but stays hidden, prioritizing her safety. The dragon returns, seizing a knight and letting him fall to his death. After the second knight meets a gruesome end under the dragon's might, Lord Bayford confronts the creature, only to be disarmed and dropped. As Elodie waits for an opportunity, Bayford, in a moment of desperation, pleads with Elodie through a speech filled with regret and a plea for her to stay hidden. Ignoring his pleas, the dragon executes him with a lethal strike. Elodie, witnessing the tragic events unfold from her hiding place, contemplates her next move, aware of the dragon's continued threat and the grave sacrifices made by her family and those before them. Seizing the moment of distraction, Elodie bids a heartfelt farewell to her father, sharing a final kiss on his forehead. She then takes advantage of the rope he left behind to begin her ascent out of the cave. Elsewhere, the dragon encounters the guide, ending his life swiftly before resuming its hunt for Elodie. However, she climbs rapidly, evading the dragon's fiery assault that engulfs the cave's entrance. Once at the top, Elodie mounts her father's horse only to dismount shortly after and conceal herself beneath rocks, misleading the dragon into chasing the horse instead, which it ultimately incinerates. The dragon's wrath extends to the skies, igniting a storm as a grim indicator that their pact has been violated. Witnessing the ominous storm, Isabel hastily dispatches her knights to abduct Floria. In an attempt to intervene, Lady Bayford is grievously wounded. Following the calamity, Elodie emerges from her hiding spot and encounters Lady Bayford, who has managed to reach the scene despite her injuries. Learning of her sister's peril, Elodie vows to rescue Floria and returns to the mountain on horseback. Meanwhile, at the bridge, Floria faces the prospect of the ritual, but Henry hesitates, unwilling to proceed with the child. Disregarding his reluctance, Isabel proceeds, using her blood for the ceremony, then casts Floria into the abyss. Elodie arrives too late to prevent the act, finding only signs of their departure and an unconscious Floria, spared momentarily by the dragon to lure Elodie. Confirming the route to the dragon's lair via the map, she arms herself with her father's sword and devises a trap involving armor and rope, set ablaze to catch the dragon's attention. As the fire consumes the rope, the impending collapse of the armor is designed to draw the dragon from her den, setting the stage for Elodie's confrontation. Elodie uses the diversion to enter the lair and rouse Floria, who is limping due to a leg injury. Just as they're about to escape, the dragon realizes the ruse and returns, enraged. Floria conceals herself while Elodie, armed and ready, attempts to reason with the dragon, claiming their mutual deception by the queen. Skeptical, the dragon launches an attack, which Elodie counters by thrusting her sword into the dragon's mouth, diverting the flame but falling from the lair's edge and suffering burns. As the dragon dislodges the sword, Elodie plunges into a lake below, emerging to catch a sword thrown by Floria. The dragon then pins Elodie down, wounding her severely. In a desperate move, Elodie uses her dagger to injure the dragon's eye, forcing the beast to recoil. Seizing the moment, Elodie lunges with the sword, aiming for the dragon's vision-impaired side, but inflicts minimal damage. The dragon grasps Elodie once more, prompting her to stab its paw and gain another chance. She dares the dragon to attack her in front of a reflective stalagmite. Dodging at the last moment, Elodie watches as the dragon's own fire reflects back upon it, incapacitating the creature. She then reveals her scarred hand as evidence of the innocent lives lost, convincing the dragon of the true nature of its victims. Opting for mercy over vengeance, Elodie treats the dragon's wounds with healing slugs, breaking the cycle of violence. Back at the castle, as another deceptive ceremony unfolds, Elodie intervenes, rolling a coin down the altar as a signal and advising the would-be bride to flee with her family. She also informs the attendants of their chance to escape, which only the servants heed. The dragon then arrives, unleashing a final fiery wrath upon the assembly, annihilating Isabel and the royal lineage, thus concluding their reign of terror. Days later, Elodie, Floria, and a healed Lady Bayford prepare to sail back with a vessel laden with gold and essentials for their folk. They decide to govern their homeland as a united front, with Elodie affectionately referring to Bayford as mother rather than stepmother. On their journey, the dragon soars close by, exchanging a look of recognition and respect with Elodie. The end. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like our channel and subscribe if you enjoy content like this. Also, let us know what movie you would love us to recap for you.